There are still a lot of events that evoke a lot of energy within the culture that still have some authenticity that really sparks a deep excitement and engagement with people. Let's call them people for once instead of consumers.
Yes.
And being part of those giant events, Lollapalooza, the Grammys, the big game, which I don't want to get sued by actually saying its real name, but being sponsors, capital S sponsors of those things is not a reality for a lot of small to mid-sized brands. So what can those smaller brands without massive budgets do to leverage the energy around tentpole events when they're not able to actually participate in the event and say like, hey, and put their arm around Lollapalooza?
Yeah.
What are the opportunities? What should they be thinking about?
I
love it.
We've,
Both of them.
we've talked a lot about online, so I'm excited to take it to experiential.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, there's a multitude of things that brands can and should be doing. We're just having this conversation with our client about the upcoming World Cup. And like,
Oh my goodness.
most brands don't have dollars. Sorry, don't know if I should have disclosed that number to come in as an official sponsor. Even big brands don't have that kind of money for one specific event.
Yeah.
But I would say that with a lot of I think 9 out of 10 of our cultural tentpole adjacent experiences have been unofficial. And I'd say it's actually more fun that way. There's a lot less red tape.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say that ultimately the magic and the power of being able to show up the right way is really focusing on the community that we're in and not necessarily only focusing on the sporting event, the music event, the fashion event, and really understanding what does this event mean for the people who are already in and among that community as residents, and what are people who are spending time, money, and effort to get there to enjoy the experience, and how do we bridge those two worlds with an emphasis on respecting the community and making sure that we are, taking into consideration all of the fabric that make that community special. And then building experiences accordingly. I also think that you've seen brands do less meaningful work, but just spend a lot of money on talent and get the biggest DJ or the biggest performer, which, listen, that also works, right?
Sure.
You want press headlines, the bigger the name, the more headlines you're going to get. I think there's multiple ways to approach it. I think where we sit in the multicultural and cultural marketing space is a blend of both. PR mediability is always a, top goal, top KPI for all of our programs, all of our events, but also understanding how do we come into an event like the big game in New Orleans and respect the very complex, multifaceted city that we're in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the other interesting thing here is the consumer dynamic across these big cultural moments have shifted so much over the past 10 years where it's not really about having tickets to the main event.
100%.
Like, I don't need to go to the basketball game, the football game to be able to go and be a part of what feels like something really exciting, really aspirational, really high energy, and have that like tangential experience. So for brands, yes, you can choose more of the traditional kind of sponsorship methods, but you have just as much of an engaged crowd, if not more, that is surrounding those entire cities who are paying attention online, following everything on social, just to see what's happening there, that you can really create so many different types of spaces. And I think we've been really fortunate enough to kind of do both ways. We've had clients that are official NFL sponsors, and we've had clients who really just want to be adjacent to something like a Basel and really trying to figure out like the right pathways for them. So the good news is you've got an entire consumer dynamic right now that is like plugged in and traveling to these spaces to really have these immersive experiences over a number of days. Hotels are selling out a year in advance. I mean, it's really quite a phenomenon. And so for brands and for our team, it's really like sitting and figuring out like what is the right nexus point for them that they can make impact and breakthrough, because we would never make a recommendation just to get you in a space and you're spending all this money and you're getting completely drowned out. it's a waste of your money. It's not going to reflect well on anybody.
Yup.
So if we've got to find a route for you, but there's plenty there when you can really sit and start to like dig into the subcultures, the communities, like the spaces who we're really going after to come up with something pretty compelling.
That's so brilliant from the both of you that I never even considered. Like, the act of watching these tentpole events is in and of itself a tentpole event. It's our last shared experiences. As far as like experience in media comes, these are the last times that we are all instantaneously taking in something at the same time. There's so much power in that.
We try. I'm making an admission. We try to leave the tentpole weekend the morning of the actual thing so we can get home to our friends and families and be on the couch watching the big game.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my God.
With friends and family.
Talk about
like
living the dream.
like events done and dusted, invoices paid, home chilling, at work on Monday, not in the airport of the host city, which is like the worst travel day of the year, next to like the day after Thanksgiving.
Precisely.
So we feel that fully.
Oh.
We agree.